Call to order the meeting of the Select Board of March 24th. Need a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21, to conduct strategy sessions in preparations for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct contract negotiations with non-union personnel for the Human Resources Director and Town Administrator.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Mickelson, seconded by
Mrs. Brooks.
Mrs. Brooks on the motion. Any questions? Roll call vote. Mr. Tattlebaum?
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill? Yes. Mrs. Brooks? Yes. Chair votes in favor. We'll return as close to 6:30 as possible.
Get this voted.
The community of Dartmouth, Massachusetts, nestled around the shores of Buzzards Bay and extending inland to fertile farms and woodlands, has the distinction of being one of the oldest communities in the United States, dating back to 1664. We are approximately 60 miles south of Boston, 30 miles east of Providence, and are the fifth largest town by land area in the Commonwealth, with 34,000 permanent residents. Our rich history boasts of our role in shipbuilding and industrial mills, and we continue to maintain our large farms that have land rolling to the ocean's edges. These farms, with their beautiful pastures, are reminiscent of how life existed 100 years ago, when Dartmouth was an agrarian community. We continue to make significant efforts to preserve the rural character of the community. But Dartmouth is not without accepting the challenges of the 21st century as we attempt to balance its demands while maintaining our hold on the past. The Town of Dartmouth Department of Public Works includes a construction division, a highway division, an engineering division, a solid waste and recycling division, and the water pollution control division. These departments oversee the construction, maintenance, and repair of 220 miles of roadway,
Call to order the meeting of the Select Board of March 24th. Please rise, and I do have a special request. I'm going to ask Brady Lavalette to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Brady? Right here. Right here. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing as we offer a moment of silence for our service personnel, both here and abroad, and both past and present. All right, please have a seat.
That was the best Pledge of Allegiance had in a long time.
It certainly was. Thank you, Brady. Appreciate that.
I remember when you gave me Pokemon cards.
Yes, I'm his Pokemon dealer.
I love it. Doesn't get any better than this.
All right. We have a full agenda, and first of all, I want to welcome PAC 74 here tonight, and it's nice to see all the uniforms, especially this guy right here wearing shorts. Got to give him kudos for that. Congratulations.
Is that our Eagle Scout?
I'm about 2 weeks away from shorts myself, so. All right, so first item on the agenda, we're going to have actually a fun one. We have a interview for the Human Resources Director, Susanna Cunningham. Susanna, why don't you come on out?
Yeah. Didn't expect so many people, right?
I think it's a little too tall. I don't know.
Yes, they made, it was very tall people that designed the podium, so.
Step there.
There used to be a step stool in the middle there somewhere,
Okay.
but.
You can lower the mic if you want.
Yeah, you can just drop it down. All right, so what we have here is, just for everybody's edification, we have an open position in town for our Human Resources Director, Personnel Administrator. After an interview by the subcommittee has offered Susanna's name as the director. We're here just to kind of introduce her, get a little bit to know about her, and then the board will make a decision thereafter. So, Susanna, if you can introduce yourself, give us a brief synopsis of what you've been doing in the past, and basically tell us why Dartmouth.
Sure. So my name is Susanna Cunningham. People call me Sue. So I've been in human resource probably about 20 years. Started out in retail management and got tapped in the shoulder about 20 years ago by a vice president of a corporation I was working for, and said, I think this would be great for you. You've got the personality for human resources. Recommended me. I then went back to school, got my degree in HR management, and my career jumped off that way. Probably about 7 years ago, I made the jump from private sector to public sector. So currently, I'm a human resource manager at Old Rochester Regional School District in Mattapoisett. My responsibilities, I'm a one-person department, so anything to do with human resources is my responsibility, from recruiting to compensation. I manage the benefits. I also do all the onboarding. One of my things I think that makes me pretty successful is I'm a pretty approachable person. I am very transparent. Conflict does not, I don't shy away from it. I think because of that, I can have those tough conversations with people. My role is always to help department heads make decisions but mitigating the risk, to make sure that what needs to be done is done legally, ethically, and to make sure that everything is protected. I think ironically, it was nice to see Boy Scouts. I was a Girl Scout leader, like with my daughter. So it was actually fun. I've lived in Mattapoisett for, 30 years. But I'm actually from New Bedford. I immigrated here from Bermuda, so I do speak Portuguese. I have 2 adult children, and I love giving back. And that's why I think I jumped to public service, because I think there is a lot to be done that towns need. That was one of the biggest eye-openings when I went to regional schools. Just everything that I had been doing so long in corporate America is just slowly coming to public sector. And I like to be that type of leader, that type of person to make sure it's done.
When you opened up your comment, you said that you had the attitude and the aptitude for an HR director. We all of us have seen I guess, the HR director skits online and in Hollywood and whatnot.
Yep.
So we all have kind of probably a skewed of what an HR person is.
Everybody's afraid of me
So,
when I walk
but
somewhere.
Tell us why your attitude fits good for an HR person.
I think because I have a very calm demeanor. So when we do have issues that are tough conversations, I can kind of weed through it and try to get to what needs to be done. I don't, and then when I do have drama, when people are always in my office constantly, I can kind of get at what it is. Like, is this just people just need someplace to vent, or is there really an issue that we need to address? And we can't ignore it. So that's my other thing. We have to follow through. It's one thing to talk about something and not follow it, because then that's kind of how we get in trouble a lot of times. I am very organized, so when I do have an investigation, for instance, comes to me, get the questions, deal through it, and make sure at the end we do wrap it up and finish it and go on to the next thing. And that's with everything that I do, be it when I'm doing compensation for the year. Right now, we have a budget hearing tonight.
Right.
Made sure that the presentation that is being presented right now had the correct numbers. I double-checked and double-checked, because it's people's lives who might have to go out of positions. That's just the facts of reality. So I think I'm successful that way because I have a level head, I think. I don't keep it pretty straight in my head, The drama's at home, not at work. So that's what I try to do.
All right, board members, do you have any questions, Mr. Tattlebaum?
Are we reading from?
If you want, or just ask one of your own.
Oh, okay.
Guidelines.
First off, I'd like to thank my colleagues, Mrs. Brooks and Mr. O'Neill, because uniquely qualified, and bringing your name to the top is a lot of faith in what they chose, so thank them for the work they did. What would your colleagues and your boss say about you and the way you work and your style and the kind of person you are?
What would he say?
Yeah.
He would say that I bring a lot of energy, positive energy. He relies on me a lot to get things done, even things that are not HR related. We're a small office, so I don't hesitate to jump when things need to, be done. Also, he probably described me as a leader, in the school district right now. Most of the principals and departments reach out to me first, and before they go on to the next level, just to get my recommendation. Not necessarily that I'm making decisions for them, but just kind of, hey, can I run this by you? I need to do this. Does this sound right? And kind of, almost like a confidant, a mentor. I think the other thing he will say that, thinking about it, that I work long nights. He's always like, why are you still here? I'm like, well, this needs to get done. So I don't shy away from that. And I don't shy away from a challenge at all whatsoever. So.
Well, being an old retailer, you were in retail a long time, and that's when you see chaos at its best, and it changes on a second-by-second basis. So that's a great experience for that job. I can see why it would help you out.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Mickelson?
Good evening.
Hello.
Nice to see you. So what was your most challenging decision you've had over the past few years?
I would probably say combination of, I had a situation that, ironically, I didn't want to deal with. So we had a person apply for an internal position. Didn't think that they were going to be great at it. But because of union contract, we're supposed to interview them. We're not supposed to ignore them. So I kind of dragged my feet a little bit with it. And at the end, did bring in and didn't really get the full experience. And in the end, they really said that I was out of compliance. So I had to, at the same time, make the decision to do it correctly and also apologize because I didn't do it correctly. I think one of the biggest things that people don't do is when we make mistakes, we make mistakes every day, is really to tell them what it is. I think one of the hardest decisions a lot of times is when I have to eliminate a position. You know, we've got great people, but unfortunately, the hierarchy, it's just, we have this great person who's just hired, but unfortunately, they're the ones that I have to, let go because of the reduction in force. I try as much as possible to set it up so they succeed once they leave, but that's probably one of the hardest things that I have to do. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. O'Neill?
Mr. Chairman, I really don't have many questions. We put Sue through the ringer in a screening committee, and all the answers that she provided to me personally at the time satisfied any questions that I had about her ability, experience, and zest for the job. So I'm good.
Mrs. Brooks?
I feel the same way, having grilled her for over an hour, our first time together. But I think the piece that I want to highlight is her experience on the municipal side. That was unique from the candidates that we interviewed. And municipal is its own ship. And for her to have the experience, I really feel that she'll be able to hit the ground running. And where we've been without an HR person for several months, I know that Melissa Jerome, who works in that office, is excited to have someone come aboard and fully complement what's happening. So I look forward to.
Great. There is just one follow-up question. And this is the one thing that I think over the last few years that's really kind of bugged the heck out of me. And it's when people apply for a position in town, they never hear back. At
Okay.
least that's what they were telling me.
Okay.
They never heard back. And what I'm looking for is that if somebody applies to town, I don't want to see a we received your application type thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't want to be over personal with it, but, there's a fine line between a canned response and something over the top.
Yeah.
And what I'm looking for is at least an acknowledgement that we received the application, that it's, and where it is, and then if there's any kind of follow-up that needs to be done, that, your application has been sent to this committee, or it's been sent to this department head, that type of thing. That's really what I want to see. I want to see a response.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I am the gatekeeper when those applications come through, especially, right now my staff is 500. So when they do come through with the positions, my process has always been, they do get an automatic that we've received it. And then as they go on the process, even to the point that when we do have a huge search committee, and we've got 2 or 3 finalists, only one gets the position. So I've always personally called the other finalist and spoke to them that way, offered if they would like some feedback. Sometimes I have a couple of things because they would like to know, why not me? So sometimes I'll have some things, some positive, productive things that they could probably work on. But yeah, I've always done that because I've been there. We've, looking for a job. It's like this black hole. Like you don't know what happens. It's just not, I don't know if it's AI. I don't know if it's the search engines that corporations are using. It just disappears, and that's not fair to someone. Yeah, I agree with you.
I appreciate
Absolutely.
that. Do you have anything, other follow-up, anything else you want to just kind of?
Oh, they were great.
Okay.
And they've been pretty open after. So yeah, they've answered all my questions. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so board,
I would like to make a recommendation that we enter into negotiations and hiring of Susanna Cunningham for the position of Personnel Director, HR Manager. I'm not quite sure how we're doing that
we're going
now.
to change the title
We have to
officially.
change-
We have to change the
Through
title
town
officially.
meeting, it's,
Fine.
Yeah, the title was never changed. It was always Personnel Administrator, and our bylaws say Personnel Administrator.
Okay.
It was never changed
Okay.
officially at town meeting. That's going to change
Oh, okay.
come
That
June.
makes sense.
So we'll
That
have it
makes
taken care of.
statement is pending successful negotiations.
Thank you.
Second.
All right. Motion made by Mrs. Brooks, seconded by Mr. O'Neill. On the motion, any questions? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? None unanimous.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, and
So, thank you.
hopefully
I'm
we
very
can,
excited.
the one clapping the loudest is Melissa.
Yeah, I think so. No pressure, Gary. Let's get this done.
Your whole family to listen, too,
I
huh?
know, thank you, guys, I appreciate it. All right, thank you.
Terrific, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda. Aha.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Oh, boy.
We're in for it now. William Mosher Monument at Town Hall. I'm assuming we're going to have former Chief Zahler speak? Or we're going to have
And Ken Vincent.
former officers, former selectmen, former Kenny Vincent, this guy. We're going to have Mr. Zahler, okay.
Thank you,
You don't
Mr.
have to address,
I'm sorry?
you don't have to address this. You can just tell us what you...
Don't mind him.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Back a ways, Kenny Vincent and Wally Farrier approached this board and brought up the idea of recognizing William Mosher for his service to the town with a stone bench to put out in front of the town hall. At that time, I think we all agreed that that would be a great idea. It has been a while since we did speak about it, though. Tom Rex over at Rex Monument has the granite in stock. It finally arrived, and it's being engraved. So we're ready to move forward, pending your continued approval, continued support of this project. We have some donations already in line where Matt Pereira will be doing the footing and digging out the base for it. And Tom and Rex will be able to install it, and we'll have a little ceremony, hopefully, to recognize Bill at that time.
Excellent.
You know, wonderful tribute.
Yeah, it is.
Uh,
Bill was he was personal, you know, very professional, and he was dedicated to the town and the community. You brought up the question about getting back to you and let us know anything pending, how it would work out. Bill always did that.
Yeah.
You know, he always worked with the community. Always got back to you. Very personal. It was a pleasure to work with over my years in town.
Yeah, but there's, if there isn't a tribute that needs to be done, it's definitely for Bill, that's for sure. So I've been supporting this since day one. Does not change.
And a lot of people have expressed interest and want to help out. A William Mosher Memorial Fund has been established to offset some of the costs for the stone and the engraving with Rex Monument. Citizens Bank on Dartmouth Street will accept a check under the William Mosher Memorial Fund. And if you can't get it to the bank, I don't know if they could drop it off with you. Kenny will come by and pick it up. And
I would just have them drop it off at the select board.
that'd be great. If you could help out with that, that would be wonderful, too.
Sure, no problem.
Drop it off. If you can't mail it or stop by the bank on Dartmouth Street, you can always drop it off here, then that'd be good. And
Clarification.
Kenny can swing by and have someone pick it up. Or pick up.
So what you're saying, you can walk into the bank and ask for the fund and just contribute right on the spot at the bank?
I spoke with the young lady there where they opened the account with, and someone comes in with a check that says that, we'll deposit it in that account.
Great.
William Mosher Memorial Fund.
Once
Yeah.
more?
I'm sorry?
Once more.
The William Mosher Memorial Fund, Citizens Bank, Dartmouth Street. You can mail it there, she said, or if you show up at the bank, they'll see that it gets to that account. That would be great. And as you said, Stan, we can drop it off here, a check, and one of us will come by, pick it up. That'd be great.
Terrific.
That would be a big help.
And I know we couldn't probably not get by without hearing from Mr. Vincent.
You're absolutely correct.
See, I know you too well.
Been a long time. In speaking to Mrs. Mosher, what we would like to do is to correlate between the Board of Selectmen and the committee to set the date, because Memorial Day was too short a period of time, and she's got the grandchildren all having graduations during the June time. So as soon as we get that, we'll be back to you so that we can set the date so that we can have the formal unveiling of the bench in front of the town hall. So I did speak to her about that.
Good. So what I'm looking for right now is just a reaffirmation of this board's support for the bench and the memorial for William Mosier at Town Hall.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Mrs. Brooks, seconded by Mr. Mickelson. On the motion, any questions? There better be none? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none unanimous.
Thank you very
Got it.
much.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Hey.
All right. Getting through these.
Another.
All right, so next item on the agenda, we have the Dartmouth Police Department Policy 1000, the recruitment and selection. This ought to be interesting, especially for any aspiring law enforcement individuals who are now wearing some type of uniform.
Mr. Chairman. So I submitted the Policy 1000 recruitment and selection to the board for your approval. The reasoning behind it is we're looking to move forward with HRD, Human Resources Division, in order to accept their hybrid model of hiring, which would allow us to hire 50% of our new recruits up to, that would be the maximum 50% of our new recruits outside of civil service. That would include taking lateral transfers, officers that have been trained, academy trained, or we could give our own test in lieu of the civil service exam and hire off that list. So it's going to open up a lot of new opportunities, I think, for us to hiring, which has been difficult lately for not just us, but many departments. I think going down this route, we've been able to take laterals. We accept them currently. The problem with civil service right now is the departments that they're coming from have to agree to allow them to transfer over, and that's just not happening with the climate. In addition to that, under the current system, we're not able to take laterals from non-civil service departments. So those two things severely limit our ability to take laterals. This is going to remove that for half of the candidates that we're looking at. And like I said, in addition, we could give our own test as well. And there are people now who have been through an academy. Some colleges have that as part of their program, where they go through the MPTC Academy, and we could hire them directly because they meet the criteria, meaning they've been academy-trained police officers. So I think this will bring a lot of opportunities and hopefully allow us to get back to full staffing. So I'm looking for the board's approval to approve this policy so I can move forward with signing the MOA with HRD. And then it could be as soon as sometime next month, beginning to actually hire outside of the civil service system. Like I explained, I think in the last meeting, we exhausted the list. They're not going to establish a new list until July. So without something like this in place, there's nothing I can do right now hiring until July. This would allow me to at least hire at least, maybe one or two officers. And as long as we maintain that 50% ratio, we're in compliance with this agreement.
Okay. Board members have any questions? I know we had discussed this at some point. Mr. Tattelbaum?
A clarification on the, and this may be a moot point, but in the language, in reference to a veteran preference, it just simply says the department will provide veteran preference as required. It doesn't seem to be enough veteran, is that with a small v? I guess what I'm trying to say is that explicit enough to say what it means, which is veteran of military service, government service? It just says veteran preference in small v. It doesn't seem that clear to me. Ms. Brooks, do you know what I'm saying? Page 13, 1000.5.1. Page 13 of our, on that list.
A line, the department will provide veteran preferences required. This is not a change, so this has already always been in. The only changes that you're adding is the highlighted or colored type. Am I correct?
Yeah, so what happened is, to comply with HRD's policy, they wanted explicit details in our policy that dealt with provisions related to anti-nepotism, anti-patronage, and anti-favoritism in the hiring practice. So what we did is we made sure that this policy was updated to cover all those in detail to meet their requirements. That was essentially the only changes, and it really didn't require much of a change at all to this policy. We just wanted to be really clear and utilize some of their language so they would be able to accept this policy. Once the board accepts this, I submit it to them, and then they review it, and hopefully will accept it as well, so we can move forward with the signing the MOA.
That veteran reference was already in there before?
Yes.
There's no change. It just doesn't seem like great language, veteran preference. You agree to all that, Mrs. Brooks? Doesn't, or not a moot point?
I can see both. I know that I'm just focused on what we're updating.
Yep.
And I don't know, I mean, certainly, I guess we're in, if looking at this is to get us to the up to 50% of new recruits outside of civil service, that would include veteran population who had never taken civil service.
I'm not debating the policy.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just the language itself. Is it clear enough to you to mean veterans? It just says veteran preference.
It also references Mass General Law.
Yeah. So that's essentially what it is. It's part of
think
the law.
it's-
The law, if you went into that, it'd be more explicit
Good
as
enough as it is.
to what the veteran preference is.
I'm not questioning the policy, it's just the language itself.
We were trying to be vague because sometimes they change laws, so
Okay.
we maintain compliance with the law, and so if you reference the law,
That's
it would
what it
have
is,
more
it's vague.
details.
Okay, so I get it.
Yeah, in case there's some change, we wouldn't have to actually change our policy.
Thank you. All set.
Anyone have anybody else?
Mr. Chairman, I'll just
O'Neill.
make one statement to the chief. This is the kind of thing that we had asked the chief to look out of the box, you know, to try and keep Dartmouth as competitive as possible when he's out in the market trying to fill positions. And, we give him a lot of discretion to bring these ideas to the floor, and I think this is a great idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Brooks, you have anything?
I'm good.
Mr. Mickelson?
No, I'm going to make the motion.
All right, so go ahead.
So I'd like to make the motion to have Chief Levesque move forward as provided with the Dartmouth Police Department Policy 1000.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Mickelson, seconded by Mr. O'Neill. On the motion, any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Unanimous. All right, Chief.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you.
Good night.
Gotta have you guys in the meeting more often. This is great.
I know.
After everything, we get a clap. All right.
Till the end.
Used to it.
I know. Trust me, I'm not used to it.
The booze are coming, don't you worry.
All right, next item on the agenda. All right, we have the PAC 74 Local Veterans Community
all
Service
right.
Project.
Yikes.
Good evening, and how are we tonight?
How you doing?
It's a beautiful night, especially for our scouts. Mr. Chairman, we're here because our Cubs and our troop boys, from the Lions all the way up to our Eagles, constantly do service projects, and a lot of them seem to revolve around veterans. And this Veterans Day, we happen to do a big one that Mr. Tatelbaum seemed rather fond of, and he wanted us to present it to you. After these two young gentlemen present that, we have another veteran service project that was done by one of our soon-to-be Eagles that we'd like to present to you. So if I could have my two speechgoers come up and our young gentlemen with our projects.
All right.
Yeah, just bring that. There you go.
All right, start.
All right, just before you speak, make sure you introduce yourself and let us know what your position is in the PAC.
Okay. Hello, my name is Ethan DaCosta, and I am a Cub Scout with Dartmouth PAC 74.
Hi, Ethan.
Hello, my name is Xander Chardier, and I am a scout rank with Dartmouth Troop 74.
How you doing? All right, go ahead. The floor is yours, guys.
This evening, we are presenting our community service framed flag project to the town of Dartmouth.
Due to the abundance of flags that are deposited in the Troop 74 Eagle Project Flag Depository, completed by Eagle Scout Tyler Ferreira and located in front of the town hall, our committee was prompted to research alternate ways to properly retire our national flags.
According to the Department of Defense website, an alternative to the traditional flag retirement ceremony was to remove the blue field of stars Then secure the cloth into a frame to be presented to veterans.
Please note, nylon flags cannot and should not be burned due to hazards they create. Thus, only cotton flags should be placed in the flag depository.
Your local scouts and their families gathered at Fort Rahman prior to Veterans Day 2024 to cut the blue field of stars from the retired flags and secured them into donated frames of all sizes. Nearly 100 flags were framed that evening.
On Veterans Day, after participating in the ceremony, Scouts presented the framed flags as well as individually cut out stars to veterans. They gathered for refreshments in the Dartmouth Council on Aging Hall. Through this unique opportunity, Scouts of all ages were able to connect with the local heroes and get a lesson on valor, bravery, nationalism. Remaining framed flags were given to the veteran service officer, Matthew Brule, to distribute at will to local veterans unable to attend the ceremony.
Tonight, we'd like to formally present our project to the town of Dartmouth in hopes that other civic groups and local citizens may consider creating their own framed flags for other veterans.
Thank you.
Great job.
Well, I can see the project that you've done, and then I'll be honest with you, I'm getting goosebumps just up here, seriously. I mean, I'm not kidding. I can't think of a better project for the Scouts to do to honor our veterans. And, I mean, I really don't know what to say other than I mean, we had,
I'm gonna have him get a
we
picture.
had Eagle Scout Ferrera come before us several years ago about that donation bin. And over a period of time, as we all know that, you know, wood, when it's outside unprotected, has a tendency to start going out. So the town has decided to purchase a brand-new depository, and it's out there today. It's stainless steel, and it's available
It's on the first floor.
on the,
It's on the first floor.
it's in the
right
building right now. So it's stainless steel. It could handle the weather, but there you go.
I'm the official photographer.
Yes.
Can we just have all our scouts up there, please, because they all participated?
Up there, sure.
There. Chris.
Student study.
No crying, Heidi, no crying.
All right,
I like that.
if I can get you all. All right, swishing a little bit more on this side.
Swishing my belly, is that what she said?
All right, guys, on the count of three, everybody say
Rearranging
Girl
the
Scout
plates.
cookies. One, no.
Chocolate chip.
S'mores.
Awesome.
Nice.
Nice job, guys.
No problem. It's
Oh,
part of
absolutely.
it. Part of it.
Mr. McDonald, I just want to mention that I was in attendance at the Veterans Day brunch that they had after the Veterans Day presentation, and I got to see the framed flags, the framed stars, the star cutouts, and saw the boys from the troop interacting with the veterans that were there that day, and it was really nice. They had great conversations. The table I was at had a veteran that had served, and the boys could speak to him about his service, and he was very touched to receive the stars, which was so nice. So, great job. And I love the fact that we're repurposing the flags that cannot be burned. I know that people know not to just throw them away, and I understand that but I like the fact that you have found a way to honor them. So thank you, boys.
Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Joe Joubert. I'm the Scoutmaster of Troop 74. Tonight, I would like to request just 2 minutes of your time for our Eagle Scout candidate, Jacob Anuzik, to present his Eagle project he completed for the Veterans Board in regards to the veterans interned at the Bush Street Cemetery. So, thank you. Jacob?
Go ahead, Jacob.
Would you guys like this now?
Yeah,
Just to look.
yeah. And just give us a brief description and everything. Okay? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking your time to join me today. My name is Jacob Anuzik, and I'm an Eagle Scout candidate here to share with you the details of my Eagle Scout project, which focused on mapping and organizing the veterans' graves from the Elm Street Cemetery. As you all may know, the Elm Street Cemetery holds a significant historical value for our community. It is not only the resting place of our ancestors, but also an important landmark within the town of Dartmouth. But in recent years, the cemetery has started to become out of date, thus leaving the Veterans Advisory Board in the dark of how many veterans were not only within the cemetery, but how many were there and where they were located. This is what caused Matthew Brulette to reach out to our troop, and that's what inspired me for this project. I approached this project with the intention of making an easy-to-read map and a spreadsheet that would show where the veterans are located. This map would not only be an update of the current system that the Veterans Advisory Board had, but as well as a way to keep it up to date without the need to fully walk through the old areas of the cemetery that weren't being added to anymore. This project started with me looking at aerial photos of the cemetery to section off pieces so that each section could be uniquely divided and sorted to best fit for an easy way to understand. The results of the data collection throughout the cemetery, which includes a comprehensive map as well as a spreadsheet that identifies each section, row, and location for each veteran. This map will not only serve as a valuable tool for the Veterans Advisory Board, but for the families as well, preserving the cemetery for future generations to easily navigate and respect the cemetery. Throughout this, I learned valuable leadership skills, which involved gathering volunteers for help, along with teamwork skills and attention to detail. This allowed me to have a greater appreciation for the community's history and importance of preserving that landmark. And I'm hoping that this will serve as a long-lasting resource for everyone that visits the Elm Street Cemetery. Thank you for listening to me. I can take any questions.
Well, I'll tell you this, looking at what you put together, it's absolutely phenomenal. And I recognize quite a number of the names here from people that I have dealt with over the years and whatnot. And I think this is a great source. Does our Veteran Service Officer have a copy of this?
Yes.
Okay, terrific. And then I think what we'll do is we'll keep a copy in our office. That way, if somebody needs to, come, they can come and take a look at what we have. Or they can contact, Matthew and go from there. I don't know if you want to take a look at it.
Great job.
But it's a phenomenal job, and it looked like it took a while to do, that's for sure.
Yes.
A lot of legwork, a lot of writing.
Yep.
A lot of computer work, so. And I guess you got experience, I'm assuming you used Excel.
Yes.
Okay. So you're getting the great, so I mean, it's a great service job. And I think, over the years, we've seen service jobs done by Eagle Scouts, and each one of them is unique, special, and it's a labor of love. And you guys should be proud of what you did. And I think this is something that'll last, this will last a lifetime and be built upon, which is great.
Yeah, they'll be able to add, you'll be able to add people, unfortunately, that pass away to the same list. And someone can come in if they're looking for a loved one to find out exactly where they are rather than traipsing around the cemetery on their own. It's a wonderful project and well thought out. Congratulations.
And Mr. Carrero said we'll be able to put it digitally on our, so that it's available also on our website.
Yep.
Mr. Tattelbaum?
It's phenomenal work, and I congratulate you on that. I have a related question to the cemetery. I've been waiting, knowing you guys are going to be here. I'm a walker, and I generally walk in the evenings. I have this jumbo yellow jacket. I look like a moving wall. That's me if you see the jacket. But I noticed the flag at the cemetery on the pole is flying in the evening as well, and I don't see a light on it. Does anybody want to comment on the etiquette, the flag etiquette that we should be looking into? Is it that my understanding is it's going to fly at night, it should have a light on it.
Absolutely.
Right, so we'll bring it up to...
Cemetery has to take
Cemetery is a private cemetery, if I'm not mistaken.
I know the caretaker. I'll mention it to her.
Them do it. Probably a
Yeah,
bulb.
I'll mention it to the
A
caretaker.
solar light from the bottom, so, right.
I mean, maybe the bulb's out.
Right.
I will,
That may be the case.
yeah.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Okay. That was unrelated, but
No, just thank you,
absolute
Jacob.
congratulations. This is great.
Great job, Jacob. Terrific. Thank you.
No, I know that every year before Memorial Day, there's a group that goes out, I think it's this Saturday or Sunday before Memorial Day, and the week before, and puts all the flags in at Veterans, so this will be very helpful
Accurate, yes, very accurate.
to know that they're putting them on the accurate sites, so thank you.
John, can we stand for him?
Yeah, I might want to come up. Yep.
Congratulations. Great job.
Great job. This is Gary.
It's just, thank
It's only-
you.
It's only Gary.
It's only Gary.
Still around, Gary?
Stanley, there's a couple of Mickelsons in here, you know.
There
I
are,
noticed that right away.
yeah. Yep.
We will have a USB with a digital copy that will allow you to add.
Great.
Oh,
Excellent.
nice
Excellent.
job.
Thank you. All right, so this actually concludes the portion with the scouts now. You have two options. You can
No school
continue to
tomorrow.
stay here and clap for us after each thing, or
Excused.
you can go home, hit the video games, or go to bed for some guys.
Homework, they're going to do
All
their
homework.
homework.
All homework, especially homework.
No school tomorrow.
No homework. I'm the same way, trust me. Brady,
Can we put the Veterans branch in here, too?
all right, just a second, please. Actually, you know what? Actually, you know what I'm
Let
gonna
them
do?
all go home.
I'm gonna take a few minutes here. I'm gonna take a few minutes. Oh. And I wasn't one of them, so I'll do four fingers. That way I know I'm not one of you guys. All right, I'm gonna take a couple questions from some of the scouts. I know this is very important, so Brady, I'm gonna give you the opportunity first.
Here's my question. How does the select board work with different departments in the town government?
Not well.
Actually, the way the government works in the town of Dartmouth is that the select board is, everybody perceives that we have the power in town. We don't. The power is really town meeting, because the town meeting is the legislature branch of the government. They're the ones who approve the budget, they're the ones who approve rules, any bylaws, zoning changes, and stuff like that. The other departments kind of bring it into town meeting to say, hey, we want to make this change. So it's town meeting that, approves the change. The select board does have limited oversee over some departments. One of the departments we don't oversee is the school committee, because they're elected. The Board of Health, they're elected. Planning Board, they're elected. Who else is there? The Housing Authority, because that's a state thing.
Park Department.
And Park Department, they're elected, and the assessors. So there's very limited as to what we can do. We're a policy board, but the biggest thing that we are is we're the eyes and the ears of the community. The community has an issue, they're going to come to us, and they're either going to really lean into us or tell us, and I can tell you that right now, later on in this meeting, we're going to hear from some people regarding of a project on Old Westport Road. So, but I appreciate that question, but we're not as powerful as everybody thinks we are. We just have a bigger mouse, that's all. And there was a question over here, I believe, somewhere? Or we just, go ahead.
Can we have a sidewalk on Tucker Lane?
Where?
Tucker Lane.
Tucker Lane.
Tucker Lane.
That's a good question.
To Tucker Lane to Allen Street, or Tucker Lane to Slocum, across Slocum Road?
Tucker Lane.
All the way up.
All the way
and
on Tucker Lane, yeah.
Right.
That's a good, actually, that's a good question.
Sidewalk.
There's no sidewalk for the children to ride their bikes
Right.
or walking the dog, and a lot of cars speed by.
Right.
So I think drivers have to drop the.
Well, I could tell you this,
As well as walking to school.
yeah,
The kids
I
that walk
can
to
tell you this right now. The town has approximately 220 miles of roads. And very few roads have the sidewalks. One of the things that we can't do is we can't really dictate on how people drive, unfortunately. A knucklehead is a knucklehead is a knucklehead, and will always be a knucklehead. And the only thing we can hopefully do is just to make law enforcement aware if there's any kind of situation, especially if it's the same person, same situation during the course of the day, make them aware of what's going on, and then hopefully maybe, one day the knucklehead will get caught. And I can't really, I'm trying to remember what it costs to do a road. I think it's, what is it?
$1 million a mile.
To completely rehab a road, it's about $1 million a mile, correct?
$1 million a mile, yeah.
It's $1 million a mile. So when you're talking 220 miles of road in town, that's a big chunk of change. But not every street, not every road in town warrants a sidewalk. There are some that do, and I would suggest that if a sidewalk is what you're looking for in your neighborhood, to put some letter in the form of a letter and send it directly to the DPW. And they may be able to take a look at it and put it in their wheelhouse, in their to-do list, their very large to-do list. Can't guarantee that it's going to be done, but at least they can take a look at it and see if it warrants it. And that's the other thing too, is if it warrants it.
So on that note, you need to also take that same letter and CC it to Officer Canario. He's the safety officer through the police department, and he looks at how safe various roads are, and he'll make a recommendation as well.
Okay.
So it's not a no. There's a few hoops to go through.
Yes, sir.
Over at Allen Pond, could we possibly see anything about the history over there, whether it be about the farms or the area? There is a fort there, which I think people would like to learn about over on the island.
Okay.
On Allen's Pond?
Allen's Pond? What about Allen's? I say it again?
He said that he wanted to know if we could post anything about the history of Allen's Pond.
I'll give you a project.
I'm going to say
I'll
that
give
sounds
you a
like a
project.
great Eagle Scout project.
I'll give you a project.
Send it to us.
Contact Susan Guiducci from the
believe-
Historical Commission.
In fact, she's here
She's
today.
in the other room.
I know she's here somewhere.
And the reason that we want you to contact her is that she sits on the Historic Commission.
Right.
And the Historic Commission has completed
There she is.
through the 350th
That's
anniversary project.
That's Susan Guducci right there.
A lot of informational kiosks throughout the town.
Right.
And the Historic Commission is who we've worked with.
Yep,
So
and
that would be
she-
a great
she has
project,
the
but I still think
contact.
it's a good Eagle Scout project.
Right, and she has the contact for the people who design those kiosks.
Greater New Bedford Vocational.
Okay. And then maybe we can get a kiosk over there. I mean, part of the gems of this town is Allen's Pond, but it's also the Slocum's River, and it's also Peyton Aram, you know.
Interested in the history of Allen's Pond.
Right. So we're wondering if maybe that would warrant a kiosk. It's something to take a look at. But that's
So
something
he's going to
that you
do
can
more
contact-
research.
That's something you can contact Susan Guducci on the Historical Commission and maybe work together, and maybe we can have Volk build one and put one there. Good suggestion. Yes, sir.
One certain question about like the safety of like people, like right over here, the intersection between Hawthorne Street and Slogan Road. There's always like people speeding, which puts people who are crossing the road in concern. Like one time I was on that road, my mom was driving on that road, I was in the car. There was like a kid coming home from school, walking home from school. He almost got ran over. He almost got ran over by the cars. It's not only one car.
Right.
It's like all the cars on that one lane just going over there.
It's too bad that the...
I can answer that question.
Go ahead.
The chief's not
There
here.
is a traffic study being done right now to investigate the ability to put a streetlight at that intersection of Hawthorne and Slocum Road. The safety office is in favor. I believe the chief is in favor, and I think it's going to happen. Things don't happen simply. It's expensive, and they want to make sure they do it correctly.
It has to go through the
It
state.
has to go through the state to get approval, but it's probably one of the busiest, and amazingly, there hasn't been a ton of accidents. You think there would be, but more importantly, they believe, the police department, I've had that conversation, they believe it should be improved, and I think it will be. But it's a step-by-step process. I'd like to mention one other thing, if I could. This is a perfect example of what we can do as a select board. You come to us with a problem, and it involves a department that may be like the park department, they're elected. I believe it's our job to get the park department together, or the police department, or whoever it is, to try to make a group decision and make things and do it right. I'll give you a quick for instance, if I may. A quick for instance. Yes, sir.
And also, they added the middle school added a traffic guard over there. But one problem with that, that's not really a big solution because they're only there when the kids are like going to school and the kids are leaving school. It's not a full-time job there.
We're talking actual traffic lights with red and green lights.
Yeah, maybe like a stop sign.
Well, actually, traffic lights.
Traffic light.
Red and green and yellow lights, the real, so people stop on the red light.
A true.
This is actually the
true
great, and I think that this looks like something that at a PAC meeting, you can certainly invite either the chief of police or the Office of Canario, the safety officer, and discuss concerns that you have about the town and safety. It's a perfect use of their time and yours at a PAC meeting.
And we can make sure they attend.
Well, that was my point exactly. That's our job, my philosophy, and I think most of us on this board, is that our job is to bring people together who can make those decisions and make it happen. We're going to be putting in, down in Peyton Aram, there was a very unfortunate accident, a death on the road, and we're going to be putting in flashing lights over a new crosswalk with new paintings to make it more visible because it wasn't very visible, and that was done by the Department of Public Works, the safety officer, the chief of police, and the select board to get that done. And that's something we can do. And people come to us, we try to get that done and coordinate that effort. We can't do it on our own. We've got to bring all these departments in together to get it done and done right. So,
All right, we're going to take
Thank you.
one more question. Yes, sir.
We ensure that all people are heard and
Well, let's put it this way. Anytime somebody needs to get a hold of one of us, I've never, ever not accepted a phone call or an email. Never. I look at it upon as a duty that I am to be responsive to anybody who wants to get a hold of me, and I do. Sometimes the questions that they have takes time to figure it out or work its way through. But generally, everybody gets a response. Any one of us up here, including Mr. Carrero, our emails are on the website. A phone call to our office, 508-910-1813, also gets, generally I get a phone call from somebody saying, I got your phone from somebody from the office. So we're available 24/7. Whether that's in the grocery store, barber shop, car wash, or walking down the street, anywhere. People have always stopped us and talked to us. Maybe when I'm not sleeping, they don't make the phone call, but that's happened. That's happened before, though. But, I mean, it's our responsibility, and it's the responsibility of any elected official to listen to anybody who wants to talk to that person. And I think that's the key. And to be honest with you, if you got somebody that is elected that doesn't listen to you, then you have the option of not electing them again. So, thank you. All right, so we need to move forward because we have other business to do. So, the PAC, if you guys want to leave, we're not going to hold you to it. In fact, if I'm getting the signal and looking for some of the kids, it's like, yeah, I want to get out of here. We're going to take a couple minutes so that you can basically leave, and then we'll come back in...
A recess?
All right.
We'll come back at 7:30.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda, we have a constable reappointment for Louis Barassa. Is Louis here? Okay, I guess not.
He doesn't.
All right, he doesn't have to show up. All right, what's the board's pleasure?
Motion to reappoint.
Motion made by Mr. Mickelson, seconded by
Mrs. Brooks.
Mrs. Brooks. On the motion, any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none unanimous. All right, next item, we have the Agricultural Commission made a motion to request to reinstate Susan Murray to the commission.
To appoint, right? Yeah. Motion to appoint Susan Murray.
Is that here?
All right, is there a second?
Wait, hang on, is she
Second.
here?
She's not here, right?
Second, she is here.
She's here. Give her a
Why
chance.
don't you come up?
Long time.
Hi, my name is Susan Murray. I live at 599 Elm Street.
I saw your sign.
All right, so you want to go back on the commission?
I do.
Perfect. All right, so we have a motion made by Mr. Mickelson, seconded by Mrs. Brooks.
Yes.
On the motion, any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none unanimous.
Thank you.
You back on?
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we have a letter of resignation from Jeremy Howard, stepping down on the Youth Commission. Need a motion to accept.
Motion to accept.
All right, motion made by Mr. Mickelson, seconded by
Mrs. Brooks.
Mrs. Brooks. On the motion, any questions?
Send him a letter.
No.
We'll just send him a letter thanking him also, please. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, none unanimous. All right, next items we have on the Housing Production Plan Stakeholder Committee. Mr. Carrero.
Mr. Chairman, on the 24th meeting, the Select Board voted to establish the HPP, and then was going to pick a representative from the board.
Okay, do we have any volunteers?
I cannot do it.
Okay.
I'll put my name forward, Sean, if you want. Yep.
Okay. All right, so Mr. O'Neill has volunteered to be the Select Board representative on the HPP. Have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Mickelson, seconded by
Brooks.
Mrs. Brooks. On the motion, any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none unanimous. Okay,
Enthusiastically
Yes.
support.
Yes. Thank you.
all right.
All the minutes.
All right, I guess these J and K is together, correct?
Project notification?
Sherbrooke Farm and?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Oh, okay.
All right. Sherbrooke Farms. We have application for a comprehensive permit by Robert Lincoln and Michael Spilmondo of Bridgewater, Mass. Looking to put up an enormous amount of apartments on Old Westport Road at the old Pine Hill gravel pit.
Sandy Gravel.
Good timing, because I just got a text from Attorney Murphy, said she can join now.
Okay. Mike?
So this would be our attorney for 40B projects. Is Mr. Lincoln or Mr. Solomondo here?
No, I don't think they would be.
They're still trying to figure out how to
Zoom going to be up there?
Yeah, it'll be,
fill out a
Thumbs
permit.
up on the,
yeah. Mike, did you get the
Right?
request?
Not yet, so.
Well, in the meantime. All right, well, in the meantime, this isn't the first time project has been recommended for this property. But I also understand that, I mean, let's put it this way. The concerns I had with the last project still are the concerns that I have with this one. I just don't, number one, first and foremost, this is a high-dense project in a low-dense neighborhood. Second, I don't know if our sewer treatment plant can handle the capacity. And two, I don't think the traffic can handle the capacity, so
They've
not
included a lot of
knowing,
studies.
not knowing what, I mean, looking for what I have at the project, I have some other concerns. And we just didn't get this weekend. Well, wait a minute. The information we got this weekend, from my understanding, is this project came before the town back in the fall. Am I
don't remember
misinformed in that? That there were people in town that knew this project beforehand?
But it wasn't at town meeting.
No, it wasn't at town meeting.
Well, but this zoning permit, or this zoning, is March 4th.
Right, but the question is that was there a technical review?
Oh.
Yeah, so, Mr. Chairman, I believe there was a technical review meeting in the fall, sometime September, October, and it was...
By who? Who was on the technical review?
Technical Review Committee, which is...
I think it was also part of the...
which is the
planning
department
board.
heads and, so...
So would that have included the former planning director?
That would be
trying to think
well
when she
after-
left.
No, she left beforehand. No, see,
But we didn't know anything about it.
This is the thing that gets, and I'm going to get on my high horse on this. I'm sorry. When you have large projects that are coming into this town, and we learn about it several months after the fact, that's wrong. We end up looking bad. And I do enough on my own to make myself look bad. I don't need somebody else to do it. We have to know what projects are coming into this town and what's being proposed. At least we should have some kind of a list. And I can't make the motion, but I hope somebody does, that from now on, moving forward, that I don't care even if it's in our informational package, we need to know what's being proposed in town and where. Because once we start getting the phone calls, once we start getting the emails, what am I going to tell somebody? I don't even know about this. I haven't heard about this. Well, it's been on the books for a couple of months. I did not hear about this project until we got the package. And then I had a neighbor send me a bunch of emails about the Mass DEP stuff, which I'm still working my way through because there's a hell of a lot through it. But, how am I going to respond to him knowing that I just got this information and I didn't know about this? And it makes us look bad. And it cannot happen again. And if it does happen again, I'm sorry, heads will roll. And I mean it. Heads will roll.
So I'm certainly going to make a motion. I had intended to do that in Select Board updates of a meeting that I want to propose. But on the matter at hand, Anthony, could you introduce us to the person on the screen?
Susan Murphy is an attorney who specializes in land use and 40B matters. I reached out to a number of 40B attorneys. I have good recommendations from other attorneys regarding Susan. I've also seen her work on the Massachusetts Municipal Lawyers Association. Very impressed. She's here today. I'm recommending that you hire her to assist the town in this 40B project. She's zoomed in. She had a planning board meeting. She jumped in tonight. I talked to her today. So I also got this very late, so I jumped on it, made phone calls as quickly as I could. I was very impressed with Susan, Attorney Murphy, and she's available to answer any questions you may have of her. I provided you late this afternoon with a draft agreement with her firm. And so I guess you should start by just talking to her and see if you have any questions for her experience. If you want to just introduce yourself, Susan, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, good evening, and thank you to the board for speaking with me tonight. So, Anthony mentioned, my name is Susan Murphy. I'm an attorney with Dane Torpy, Luray, Wiest & Garner in Boston. But I do a significant amount of municipal real estate and land use work. In fact, that's primarily what I do, is act as special counsel for municipalities as opposed to a general town council role. I've been the special real estate land use counsel for the town of Hingham for about 14 years now. I've also represented the city of Gloucester in the last couple of years on a couple of 40B projects, and have also had special counsel, real estate council work for some other communities. So I have worked on a number of 40B projects, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the board members may have.
Okay, Mr. Mickelson.
I have a question pertaining to the, I believe the magic number is 10%. Once we reach 10% or obviously or higher, we do not, we're not forced to accept these projects. So we currently have a 40B project is in the midst of being built as we speak. And that will put us almost to 10. What are we on right now, Gary? Percentage?
7.8.
Almost 8%?
Yeah, and that'll put us just shy of 10.
Yeah. When that project's done, it'll put us just shy of 10. So would we be forced to accept this project? Look, I have no skin in the game here or anything like that, but I have no stomach for another 40B project in this town at all, as long as I have something to say.
Right, I understand. Well, I've just becoming familiar today with the Sherbrooke Farms project. I don't have any information about where the current project, I believe it's under construction, is. So I don't know if it yet qualifies for your subsidized housing inventory, but I'd happy to talk to the appropriate town officials to understand the status of that project in order to see when it may become eligible. So the existing project will have had to reach the appropriate state of completion before it becomes qualified, and then push the town over the 10%. So I don't have the information right now on that. But I'm happy to look into it and get back to you.
Great, thank you.
I know we're looking at your firm and yourself for Sherbrooke Farms, but I'm also under the impression that we're going to be looking for her for Dartmouth Woods too, correct?
Yeah, but that was on the agenda, so I didn't.
All right. Well, I know we'll.
This is just in general, all 40B projects.
40B projects, period, because I'll be honest with you, the current attorney that we have for our current 40B project, I'm not impressed with, and the lack of communication between her and town officials it's absolutely abysmal. So my biggest thing is that if somebody from the town has a question, and I'll be honest with you, Attorney Murphy, I expect a quick response. And I think that's key, because sometimes, these departments need a quick response in dealing with this. And I understand the planning stages is a little different than the actual shovels in the ground, but still, this project here, Sherbrooke Farms, I think we're also going to be requiring an LSP. That the town, if I'm not mistaken, the town is going to need to hire an LSP so that we can determine, the quality of the site.
Could you expand on what an LSP is, please?
It's a licensed site professional? Yes. I got it right, after all these years. And I mean, we had an LSP in, no, I can't remember her name.
Christine.
Yeah, Christine.
Christine LeBlanc.
And I know she just recently retired.
Right.
So, I mean, and again, the LSP that we had for the town on the current 40B project has been less than stellar too. So, and I believe there's a new LSP coming on board for that. But we need to make sure that whatever we have, especially for this project, that we have the responses and we have a lot better communication than we have currently now with the current project. And I hope to, and I can't emphasize that enough. And, and as the attorney on the project, I look at you as the quarterback of the team, where you need to make sure that everybody is in play and is on the same page. And I think it's a big to-do, but that's your job, and I think that's very important, because not only are you going to have the town's concerns, but you're going to have the neighbors' concerns. And believe me, there's a lot of neighbors that have concerns. Mr. Tattelbaum.
I think some are here tonight.
Can I comment on that as well? As I had the same conversation with her, I explained our concerns about some lack of communication on another project. And she was the one that most promptly returned my calls when I reached out. And her and I spoke several times today, and I gave her information, and she jumped right on it. So I have explained those concerns to her as well.
Perfect.
I think before this thing gets out of hand, I think we should look at what's happened. I think we have two problems here. The short-term problem is, the long-term problem is, why did we find out about it now? And when the technical review started, whenever it did, sometime the fourth quarter. And I would suggest, before we do anything and vote on anything, for next meeting, we can ask our Mr. Carrero to do the research necessary to come back to us, say, here's what happened and why, and then we can suggest a solution. Whether it goes to technical, and we need to know that whatever the framework is, and we need to know what's going on, we can then decide and then vote on it. I think to do anything before then without understanding the process better would be a mistake.
I also asked Mr. Vitale to reach out, because he was communicating with the state. He's dealing with a gentleman from the state, and I asked him to get a further extension, because there was some back and forth about when exactly the site visit would occur. And Michael Busby from the state has agreed to extend our comment period till April 30th. So that will allow new council to get up to speed, the departments, the boards to get together if they want to put their comments together.
Well, my point is, Anthony, that's fine, but I'm concerned about what happened and why, and what we should do about it, and not do anything that doesn't cover the problem so it doesn't happen again. And if you agree, we all agree, Mr. Carreras, to do the research, get back to us, or somebody else, I don't care who it is that we agree on, but we need to know what happened and why. The second thing is, what do we do in the short term to get a handle on this project and what we can do? We have legal issues of all kinds. And we certainly have issues about the town's capacity, especially in the sewer system. So what's our time frame? What are our limitations? And what do we do about that? And I think we need to get a lot of information before we start making any quick decision. Don't cover that. Right. But we certainly need to do it quickly in the interest of the town, interest of the neighbors, interest of our infrastructure, et cetera, et cetera.
And so they're scheduling a site visit at the beginning of April. I'm not sure they set on a day. I saw some communications about April 1st and April 2nd, and our department heads, the ones that are particularly involved, including DPW, Tim Barber, Board of Health, Christopher Michaud, probably Conservation as well. Mark Garrett will likely be at the site visit. I don't know who else. But to put the comments together and get them organized, that's why this is beyond the scope of my expertise. I don't want to be an old dog learning a new trick at this point. It'd be much more cost effective to bring in an expert, and that's why I'm recommending Attorney Murphy.
Mr. McDonald.
Mr. Mickelson.
Well, just one more comment about the present 40B project. So it's even more important for you to be involved in that and get that project moving for this project's been in the 4, maybe 5 years, and they still don't have a shovel in the ground. It's crazy. There was one thing after another, and you've got 2 committed people that own that property that are just beside themselves. I'm surprised they hung around this long. So the quicker we get we get a shovel in the ground, the quicker we're going to get to that 10% or close to that 10%. We cannot afford to delay that project anymore. That should be, in my opinion, should be your main concern at this point.
The project you referenced, Dan, I thought that they had foundations already in.
But we're still having delays.
Oh, all right.
Right, but that's beyond the scope of tonight's meeting.
Right,
It's
Mr.
tonight's
McDonald,
agenda.
could I?
Mrs. Brooks.
I'm looking at, and I don't know, I want to know how we can pause this. I'm looking at an application to go to the zoning board, and that's the one I'm referencing tonight, which is was submitted March 5th.
That's just a draft
March 4th,
application.
a draft application to the, and I'll be honest, this is the first time I've seen a zoning board application. But to me, this application has concerns within the application. So when I see that the parking required is 281 spots, 10 handicapped, and the proposed number is 267, 10 handicapped, my first off is, if it's required to have 281, why are you only proposing 267? I don't expect anyone to answer that tonight. But I'm also looking at estimated water consumption and sewer discharge, and I'm looking at information that says that no material from the site will leave the site. If you're digging something, it's got to go somewhere. I haven't seen any site that states that type of information. A lot of the answers to the questions here is, NA, state stormwater regulation compliance, assuming zone 2. I'm just seeing, some other things were like discussed at technical review, doesn't say whether or not they were in compliance or what the questions were. I just think there's so much here that I don't find this provides a complete picture. Now, I will say, that being said, the information supplied by, I'm assuming, which would be the builder, the submission package of examples has a lot of information, more information than my ability to process. There is traffic pattern studies done here at times of day. Looks like it's mostly impacted by UMass Dartmouth. But there is a lot, and the fact that, to my knowledge, abutters are just as unaware of this project as we were up until this weekend, unless they saw people traipsing around. How do we say pause until all of our answers all of our questions are answered?
That's a good question. Okay, Mr. O'Neill.
Mr. Chairman, just to step back a little bit, not get the abutters too worked up about this, because this is going to take a while, but nothing's going to happen right away. My questions are a little bit more general. According to the 2018 housing production plan in Dartmouth, we had 971 units listed as affordable. We're at 8.25%. The last list that I see from the inventory from the Commonwealth was done on June 29th of 2023. Lists us at 980, or 7.81%. Ms. Murphy, is there another way to get a more updated inventory number for Dartmouth, or is that the list from 6/23? Do you know?
That's the official list that the Department of Housing and Livable Communities is maintaining. Sometimes it occurs, and I'm happy to kind of look into this, not spend too much time, but just take a quick look into this. Sometimes it is possible that units may be on the inventory so that a community will have a higher percentage, but they'll fall off for some reason. Mm-hmm. So without knowing specifically, because I don't have the information, it's possible that the other project that you were just speaking about, that it may be currently under construction, it's possible that when the permit was first issued, that those units went on your inventory, but because construction did not commence and no certificates of occupancy were issued, that those units have fallen off. So that's possible. That could be a reason. There could be other reasons, but before speaking to some of your town officials, I wouldn't know for sure.
Mr. O'Neill, could I ask a question?
A couple more.
I have a question
David.
for you.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
These are technical questions you have, and it's obviously Attorney Murphy doesn't have a lot of specific answers because she's just here. And I think to deal with the speculation and try to ask questions that don't have answers at this point in time, I suggest we do as much homework as we can for the next 2 weeks, and we meet again with these information so we can then make some hard decisions of what the way we go and get advice, legal, and make a decision that makes sense.
No, she did answer the question, though. So the June 23 is probably the most updated list. In the last question I had for you, these projects, they have to have a project eligible letter, correct?
Right. So in response to Board Member Brooks' concerns, they did prepare a draft application, which I really haven't seen an applicant do before at this stage. They are required to get a site eligibility letter, as you mentioned, before they can ever apply to the zoning board. So that's the step that they are now. Mass Housing is the state agency that is reviewing the project, and the process is for them to do a site visit, as town council mentioned, is going to be scheduled for your town staff to attend. And also there's the comment period where the town can assemble the comments from all your departments with all of the concerns that you've noted and set forth, and that, may affect the site eligibility. Or, even if a site eligibility letter is issued, which is more common than not, if specific issues are raised, often a site eligibility letter will say you have to address issues A, B, and C raised by the community. So it is a worthwhile exercise to have all of your department heads review it and raise issues regarding the conditions of the site and the conditions around the site that might, go to the impacts of the project on the town.
Thank you.
I do know Chris Michaud does have some concerns on the site because he's had it in the past. So we can definitely use his
Pine Hill?
knowledge. Pine Hill, yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah, we've had a lot of issues.
There you go. So, all right.
Of asphalt, ABC processing.
Right,
that's been
so
built there.
what we need to do today is to approve the engagement letter for Susan Murphy of Dane and Torpy to be the 40B attorney for the town.
Yeah. Right, in the email I sent you, we're also asking that she be appointed as special municipal counsel, to hire her for this project and appoint her as special municipal counsel.
Okay.
A special municipal employee, I'm sorry.
Right. All right, do I have a motion for that?
Motion made.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. On the
Question?
motion, any questions?
Question. What's the difference with the special?
Special municipal employee, so it means if her firm has something else in town, it wouldn't create a conflict for her. I couldn't do anything in town, and it could create conflicts for me down the line, years down the line. But it allows them to work on other things as private counsel.
Thank you.
Okay, any further? Mr. Tattelbaum?
Along with this appointment, I think we're going to establish what we're looking for in the short term from Attorney Murphy, so we can then make a plan or have her give us suggestions so we can move quickly to get this thing under control and know what we have to do. Is that the plan?
Yes.
And would that be directed, a suggestion, Anthony, or coming from Attorney Murphy as to what?
That would be in consultation with town council.
Yeah, I'll talk to her and Gary, and we'll get a plan going.
So it's a short-term and a long-term plan?
Yeah, and the contacts in town.
It'd be for this project and maybe even how it relates to the
Well,
previous
we'll bring her
project.
back if we need to hire her for
Okay.
another project.
Thank you.
Anything further on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None unanimous. Okay, so we have an attorney for this project. All right. I know there's some people here who want to talk. I guess, Mr. Costa? Okay.
Attorney Murphy,
You
I
wanna
think
just-
we're all set for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney
Ms.
Murphy.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'm
thank
sure
you. I
we'll
look
be
forward-
seeing a lot of each other.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. Have a good night.
Mr. Costa, you want to just, well, I'm sure you're going to be a valuable resource for going forward.
Any one of you guys, all the time, everybody, I don't
Okay.
care.
Well, actually, what we can do, Mr. Costa, if you can give your contact information to Mr. Carrero.
Okay.
That way, because I know you've done a lot of research and you have a lot of information.
I was one of the 60 people who signed the petition to the state for the PIP committee, the public involvement plan. And so we were, okay. I'm one of the 60 people who signed the public involvement plan with the state to be involved with the cleanup of the hazardous waste at that site. So myself and my other neighbors were probably part of that committee too. And so it's involved with the state right now. They got a 5-year extension from the last time they were supposed to clean up, but they didn't. So they're in arrears right now. And so there's that's the chemicals that are in the ground. There's also solid waste, hazard waste, asbestos in the concrete and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So that's where it stands. He has to apply to the state, and they're asking him for a licensed site professional to continue with the other professional left the job. They didn't. The original owners say they ran out of money, so they couldn't pay for the cleanup of the licensed site professional, so they gave him a 5-year break. They still haven't acted on that. It's been 5, 6, or 7 years now.
Excuse me, when you say they, who are you referring to?
The owners of the
Previous
property.
owner, the previous owner, not the new owner. The new owner just bought the property in December. So it wasn't on any, there was three previous builders out there.
When did he buy it again?
December 24th. Or it was in the paper, but if you have to go to the deed.
Okay.
All right, so my suggestion is this, whoever, give us the names of give us names, contact information.
Oh, I got it.
Yep, and give it to Mr. Carrero, and then we can get it to, our town people and also to the attorney so that we have the information. This is going to have to be a combined effort to deal with this.
You'll be notified if we speak again on this.
Would it be probably premature for me to say I'm against it, but I can tell you I'm against it, so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right, so we appreciate that. I know this is just a preliminary discussion, but the biggest thing is what we now have is we have now representation, which is key. Because these types of projects, you need a specific set of skills, and Attorney Murphy has those skills as a 40B attorney. And I've been told, and she has said, she will be responsive. So that's what I'm more interested in, is actual response. So, but we appreciate you coming out, and but please give us your contact information. You can send it in an email directly to the select board, or you can send it to Gary, and then we will always keep you apprised as to what's going on.
Okay, thank you for listening.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Mr. McDonald, before we move too far, in my list of things to do tonight, one was to propose an interdepartmental meeting of us, a group of us, the entire board, to meet with the following departments: Building, Planning, Historic, Conservation, Board of Health, and DPW. I'm curious to get information from them, and this goes along this issue as well as some others that have been recently raised, but I do want to know about the technical site review meetings. Who attends, who takes notes, If there's something that comes up, such as this project, who are they notifying and why aren't we being notified? I also want to know how they can construct, each of those departments, how do they construct through the online process? How do they eliminate departments that are unnecessary in that process? How do they make sure they've included the departments that are necessary in that project? How do they establish their fees, timelines? Who is responsible for making those final decisions on compliance of meeting the permit and having the permit approved? I'm hearing from a number of folks, developers as well as single family folks that are looking, filling in these online, that we're still having difficulties moving this process along. So I am asking that we have an interdepartmental meeting with all of these folks, and I realize that to do this, it may be that we have to meet during the day when they are all on our dime to ensure that they are all there.
Well, I know there was an interdepartmental meeting to discuss some other issues that Gary had done, and there is, I guess, a follow-up on that. So maybe we can build upon that.
Yeah, can I speak to
Go
a
ahead.
little bit on?
Yes, please.
Some stuff that's been said. So I think what we should look to move towards is, we have the monthly department head meeting that we speak, and everyone comes in the room and talks about projects they're working on. But I envision more of a segmented meeting, as I do in finance. I bring all the finance people in. We should do that same thing with land use. Bring DPW in, bring Board of Health, Conservation, so on and so forth. Emergency management, we bring EMA, we bring the police, even some of the fire district chiefs in, and we talk about specific issues that are timely for those specific divisions. Now, the town is not set up as a divisional town, but if you look at the makeup on a lot of the larger cities, it is made up that way. It's brought up into divisions, and I think there's a lot of a positive to bring to the table when you have the like-in-kind groups talking about projects and specific needs that they need. It's great to have the one-on-ones, as the former town administrator did, but in my opinion, I think that there's more, you get more out of having the same like-in-kind departments talking to each other, either on a monthly basis, or on a semi-annual, or a 2-month basis. That way, projects like this don't fall through the cracks. And then that person, whoever that administrator, the town administrator would be at the time, reports back to the board on timely projects. And I would envision that it stays as a agenda item on the agenda. So that's what I envision.
I would support that going forward, and once we have a permanent town administrator, I think we build that in.
Mm-hmm.
Until that point, I think we are long overdue. We still have folks that are in their own fiefdom, and they are fighting to see who's in charge of what and who is overstepping who. And I think we need to just clear the air once and for all and set the tone that this is our expectation of how we're going to move forward as a town. We just recently lost a very large potential taxpayer from the Fonts Corner Road corridor, which is, built for retail. And I'm still scratching my head wondering how we screwed that up.
That's easy.
So
That's easy. One member of the board said that, it wasn't New England architecture. Tell me what part of
Fonts Corner Road is New England architecture.
To Old Fall River Road is New England architecture.
So I'm asking that we do this as a good old-fashioned come to Jesus meeting where they need to hear our expectations. And I am willing to support a board that is doing what we have asked, or a department. But when they start infighting and going rogue, they need to know that we have set the tone.
I got a comment on that. I think until we get the facts in a meeting where people tell us what's going on, I think to spread, blame and make accusations is not fair to anybody. And it may very well be that there's someone went rogue and ruined the project, but I think that this hasn't been done before. We all know that this is a government run by individual committees. We have a certain amount of limited abilities to do things, but what we can do is get people in the room to then make a decision to find out what happened. And we got a lot of homework, we got a lot of work to do here, because I think finger pointing to staff before we know what went on is not healthy.
I'm not proposing finger pointing,
No, I
Dave. What
realize
I'm
that.
proposing is we get everybody together and allow them to air their grievances, and we can move past this. Because if I'm continuing to hear about little things that are happening, and then when it gets to either someone feels their fees are too much, or they should be given a break because their friend got a break, or one department is slowing down a process and we're losing something, or we have to make a decision within 30 days, and so the decision's being made before somebody else is actually processing through why do we have to do that? I think we just need to get it all out on.
And we may find out that some of this requires a charter change in terms of who has the authority over what decision-making process. But until we got to get the facts.
Right. So I'm proposing that this.
There has been a meeting.
Yeah.
Mr. Carrero has had a meeting with some of the departments that have had issues with the permitting process.
Yeah, we had an operational meeting, which I think went very well. I think to your point, those have to continue. And if they don't, then, there could be potential issues where things fall through the cracks. But the goal is to come back to that, have a regroup, which we've already scheduled. And a lot of these things can be addressed with, with the system that we have, the view permit system that we have, to talk about timelines and some of the dates that are set set by statute. I mean, we can't get around the 30 days for a building permit. That's just not something we can adjust. But we can work around those requirements from other departments and not leave them segregated and out in the dock. And the meeting that we had, I think, brought that out to light. And the next meeting we're going to have, which anyone's invited to, will address how we're going to fix that.
Can you send the date out?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I'm very curious as to why certain departments are, what I'm hearing is overstepping, are slowing down a process because they feel that something else should be done when it's not really they don't own that permit.
We had town council do a review of it, and he's come back with some analysis that we used in the meeting. Like I mentioned, to speak to some of the departments, they have hard deadlines. They're required by law to address certain issues. But almost every single department that you look at, whether it's health, whether it's so on and so forth, conservation, are also required under law. It's just that we're trying to fit all this together in working with now view permit, which I think back in the, when we look at back in the day, when we had all the paper, sometimes, we still have to go back to that. So that just doesn't disappear.
Mr. Carrero, do you know when that next meeting's coming up soon?
Yeah, I booked it. I'll send it out to the, I think I sent it to Sean.
Okay, maybe whoever can go, but we get that meeting going, and then maybe we can then make a plan to do a more mass meeting, because I think you're on it, Mrs. Brooks, in terms of what we can do.
Mr.
So if Mr. McDonald, you and I can vouch for the fact that we did have meetings like that. Sometimes 3 or 4 times a year, but at least once or twice. And we got away from it. I don't know why we got away from it, but now we know the problems by getting away from that procedure, and things are getting out of hand, and we got to rein this in before it gets any worse than it is already.
I think part of the problem is this is the building department has a 30-day window in which they need to deal with the building permit. But that doesn't necessarily necessitate the other departments who have other statutory requirements that they need to address within that 30 days, because sometimes it's going to take longer. If there's an issue with the Board of Health with asbestos, that has to be dealt with. If there's something with conservation and
planning,
not so much planning, but
That's been.
yeah, I mean, if there's something that needs to be addressed, not necessarily that, conservation has to address it within that 30 days, but at least the building permit, everything can be done, but you still have to go through other departments and have to deal with other regulations. And I think that was part of the thing that needs to be ironed out, and it is being ironed out, especially with, town council making the review as to how things should be dealt with. And I believe, at least the first meeting, and now there's a follow-up to it, it's going to be addressed,
Yeah,
so.
and one of the simplest things was, let's get a form online, a checklist, that says, even though you're getting your building permit after 30 days, you still have the responsibility of contacting health, contacting conservation. That doesn't go away. So even though they may get a CO, they still could be under
Right.
obligation to finish those. And that's just a simple form that could go online, a checklist, which, we're working through our systems analysts to get on there. So that's things that we're working out.
I mean, as far as projects being done, the project that may be dead on on Fons Corner Road, can be brought back to life. It just, I just don't understand the comment that, you have a national,
Chain.
you have an international brand that wants to come into town. And if you look at the international brand,
Onto Fons Corner Road, as opposed to any of our...
if you look at the national brand and you look at the buildings that they build in Los Angeles, in Spokane, in Peoria, in
Rhode Island.
East Wachusett somewhere, it's the same thing because it's the international brand. So that no matter where you go for that brand, it's the same building, it's the same look. And if you take a look at Fons Corner Road, you have the jail, not New England.
Well, I'm going to say
You
Texas
have
Roadhouse
Gaspas
looks like
Louisa.
Texas Roadhouse all over the
New
country.
England.
You got numerous
You have,
locations.
there's really nothing New England in that whole
Stop and
road.
Shop looks like Stop and Shop.
Well, Mr. Chairman, just to touch on that, though, we
happened to Westport Road?
we do,
This is sort of like, well, we've kind of moved on a little bit, but the Westport Road is that we now have an attorney that they're going to be speaking with town council, and they're going to be given all the material that we have, what's in our package, so they can start reviewing it. But what's also more important is the information that Mr. Costa has in regard to Mass DEP. If we can get that also up to our office so that we can give it to the attorney, and then see how it goes as far as going through the process and seeing, because even though 40B kind of gives you, takes away some of the zoning from the town itself, they still have to do they still have to meet other regulations. And one of them, of course, is environmental regulations. You can't get away from that.
Have any of you ever been there?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You see how the road is
Yeah.
30 feet higher than the dirt? What are they gonna fill all that in?
Well,
We're not
what I'm
sure.
seeing from their permit, it's not clear.
We're not sure exactly what they want to do, and that's the thing for the attorney, and also for, an LSP on the town side, to look at the plans, because they also have, because the parcel is also on the aquifer, and we have to protect that too.
So is it possible that we would have more information for the Monday, April 7th meeting, 2 weeks from today? Send this information to the attorney? To talk specifically about this project.
This will be on our agenda all the time now. Yeah, we can see, I can't guarantee what kind of information that we're gonna have. But there's an awful lot right now, that she's gonna have to go through. Especially in getting an LSP and having them go through, especially all the DEP stuff. I'm, be honest with you, the only thing I can really honestly say is, you know, we're gonna do what we can to make sure that, you know, whatever is done there is done correctly, the right way, and in congruence with the neighborhood. You know, like I said, I'm not really in favor of this, especially the density. You know, when I look at some of the waivers that they're looking for, you know, a 12-foot island reduced to 9 feet, you know, not a big deal, but that just tells me they're squeezing something in. You know, they need something to, they're trying to put a whole lot in a little.
Well,
And that's what that tells me.
What they filled in said that 60% of the site is not usable.
Right, yeah, and they're looking to use 51.7% of the site,
Right.
which is 1.7% more than what they should. So, you know,
How many acres is that? Does anybody know?
It's on here.
90? Thank you. And I think 60% of that is mostly wet, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I know there's a couple ponds in there. I Googled it from,
Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, let's put it this way, the site wasn't a good site when student housing was proposed, you know, many years ago. So, and nothing has changed since.
Right.
Yeah, that was the last
That was
project.
less.
When the Mellows
Right.
own it.
That was
owned
the
it.
last project brought
Yeah.
forth for that
Yeah.
particular property.
And nothing has changed since. So, and I think, I mean, there is a history of the project, the town does have the history, but some of the details, I'm sure, you know, we gotta bring the 40B attorney up to speed on that, which she will be doing, so, and I'm in full confidence. So, the only thing I can say is, you know.
start selling?
No,
No,
No.
not at all.
don't start moving either.
Not
No,
moving either,
this
no.
doesn't, I mean, if they have to be in compliance with all the DEP regulations, which what shocks me is that should have been something that they were aware of at the when they bought it. Yet I see nothing in the deed to the property or what they signed on that says anything about having any chits, I'm saying, chits to the property. It just talks about the size of the property.
Right.
It doesn't talk at all about concerns for the property, just overall size. And I can't imagine someone didn't do their homework.
I think they're well aware of what they're in for. They're well aware of it. I think everybody, I can go around to the town offices, the people that knew about this before you guys did. I think you'll find out they know a lot about it. They've gotten prices already.
I mean, let's put it this way. When you were proposing a project of this side, you're not stupid.
Right. They know what's going on. Right. They're dumb like a fox, right? But my other quick thing was.
Come up
Why don't you come to the mic so everybody can.
Come up to the microphone. Right, please.
No, it's just another quick question was, and I don't have the particulars, but I thought our new president had changed something regarding HUD money and so forth, that that he said he was putting the control back in the local communities. And I know he's passed 5,000 things in the first, 30 days, but he did do something about that, and I've been trying to research it and find out exactly what it is. But he did talk about it, and he did talk about it after he did whatever the heck he did. And I just thought it'd be interesting if we could find out what the hell he did.
I can tell you that there's no local controls when it comes to affordable housing right now, per se. I mean, we don't have that. It does come with the state. The state does have, through mass housing. They're basically the clearinghouse for affordable housing in the state of Massachusetts. There is state funding that goes with that, but there's also federal funding that goes with that. And right now, that a lot of the HUD projects that are existing have not been affected by anything. I think maybe something new coming up, maybe, but the state also has the ability to do affordable housing on its own and not need federal funding. So,
I would suggest that this is all pure speculation. That's why we hired an attorney, because there's lots of rules about affordable housing. We don't know what's going on internally here. Let's do our homework, do it quick, and deal with facts, and we can make decisions. To speculate beyond all this is dangerous and, to me, unproductive. But let's move so we get information. We all deserve facts to move on. The residents, the town, the town government, and the neighbors.
okay. All right, so where are we now?
Well, we're going to get,
Proposed town projects, I think we talked about that already earlier.
Right.
Oh, no,
So
I'm
we're
sorry,
all,
interim town
sorry,
manager.
so we've got,
Contact me with
yeah, so Mr. Costa, if you can get the contact to Mr. Guerrero and whatnot, you can get that. And I think, so we're gonna, all right, so we're gonna put this one to rest for the time being. If you're interested, just send us an email with your contact information, and we'll keep you on the loop as things progress. So,
Thank you, board.
great, thank you.
I still am concerned that this has gone through and there hasn't been any meeting with the butters. So at what point in time would a big project like that,
What's that?
with the butters, a big project like this, why isn't,
I'm not sure.
who would it be?
Goes with the application
Which
to the
department?
ZBA.
It would be the application.
Oh, so only when it got to ZBA would it?
Waste of time.
Yeah, too.
Okay.
Mr. Costa, this,
Okay.
we've talked before, haven't we? Yeah, okay.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Nice to see you again.
All right. Yeah. All right, so the next item on the agenda, we have the interim town administrator update.
So,
Okay.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. MassDOT has begun doing work on both Highland Avenue and Hicksville Road, which began on March 21st. They're going to be installing dynamic message signs, CCTV cameras, road weather systems, and traffic counting stations, which will include the installation of underground conduit. Travelers can expect various lane closures, and the work is expected to be completed in 2 years. Also, I presented the FY26 budget to the Finance Committee on 3/13. The projected FY26 budget currently stands at $107,904,377, which is an increase of 3.2% over the FY25 budget. Presenting the final budget to them in a couple of weeks. Finance Committee will also be wrapping up the warrant articles at that meeting, and CIPC, Capital Improvement Planning Committee, will be wrapping up their recommendations to town meeting on 3/26. And finally, at 10 o'clock today, the first MBTA South Coast Rail train took off for the Redford Station. It was over 65 years since the South Coast of Massachusetts has seen passenger rail service. The governor and lieutenant governor took part in the inaugural first trip. Commuter service will run daily from both the New Bedford and Fall River stations with an anticipated 4,570 travelers per day. The service and parking will be free on weekends through April. That's all I have.
Okay. All right. Given that we have proposed town projects, I don't think we have anything at this time, correct? Other than what we've already discussed.
Right.
Okay. Old business, anything on the Bliss Corner?
No new business.
Lake Nokichoke?
No new business.
Municipal broadband?
No new business.
Mass DEP, Title V?
No new business.
Okay.
Could we add in the future 40B housing projects
Old business, yep.
under that?
Yep.
Thank you.
40B.
I already wrote it
Specific.
down on my notes.
Put it down as 40B projects.
Potential 40B project? Or just
40B
Just
projects.
40B projects.
Just,
Because I'd like to know where they are. I mean, if we're saying that we don't get credit towards our numbers until they're completed and when they have their, what do they call it, their occupancy permit, then I want to know how close they are.
No, I don't know if that's true. I think if you listen to what she said, there's a certain criteria you can go just so far. And
Right.
once you reach that, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the permitting for that.
But every time we build a 40B project and say it's 100 units and only 10 of those we still are putting 90 more units on the other side, so I
Right.
just want to know
need to
where we
keep-
are.
I don't mean not to do it, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Do we need to keep Lake Nokichoke on this list?
I believe
would.
so, there's
Yeah,
something
there's still,
brewing with Fall River.
yeah.
So, that'll, Fall River, that'll be,
So
That'll be
we're going to buy it for $1.
that's right.
I don't
They'll
think that's
sell
gonna
soon.
happen.
They will.
All right, minutes, January 27th, February 10th, February 24th.
Mr. McDonald, I reviewed the minutes. My question in January 27th is during the hearing with Titanium Dartmouth, which is actually Titanium Dartmouth.
Okay, yep.
Okay, so I'm looking on page 241,
Second page
240.
of the minutes, yep.
Okay? We state there that they were going to supply us with their beer and wine schedule. And if we look back, they had kind of an all-day, but they were supposed to supply us, send a beer and wine schedule to include with the license.
It was the hours.
The hours, right.
Right.
Did they do that? So I just want someone to look into it and make sure they actually did it.
Okay, let's ask Melanie, take a look at that.
Other than that, when I read the minutes, I found no errors in January 27th, 2025.
Okay, how about the others?
In February 10th, 2025, I wanted to know about the status of the HERO Act that we stated that we were going to be putting on the town meeting agenda. Yeah, so where are we? The HERO Act,
There's actually two veterans articles and then the elderly exemption article that we're working through right now with town council. So
Okay.
as we work through the warrant articles, we're drafting those.
Okay.
For the HEROES Act and.
we stated it would be included. I wanted to make
Yes.
sure it was. And finally, no other issues. On February 24th, 2025, during the interim TA's update, it states that they would be, on page 253, I want to get specific, 253, it states that would be holding its annual Veterans Day Parade, which will step off, blah, blah, blah. It's the Memorial Day Parade.
Oh.
So we need it to be changed on page 253.
All right, so make that.
And I don't know if you misspoke that night or you were misquoted, but it needs to be the the Memorial Day Parade on page 253. And again, I saw no other errors.
What was the date?
All right, so you're making a motion to amend the minutes of
Amend the minutes of February 24th
under the interim town administrator update.
report, page 253, to
Change
change
Veterans
from
Parade Day to Memorial Day
the
Parade.
Memorial Day Parade.
All right, motion made by Mrs. Brooks, seconded by
Second.
Mr. O'Neill. On the motion, any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None unanimous. Okay, so I need a motion to accept the minutes of January 27th, February 10th, and February 24th.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Mickelson, seconded by Mr. O'Neill. On the motion, any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None unanimous. Okay, select board updates. Mr. O'Neill, you have anything?
I got a couple of things. First one, HERO Act, Heidi covered that, I was just wondering where that was. Second one is, are we, just an update on the DPW 3 to 5, are we going to add that to the warrant or not? I don't know if that's still.
That was not discussed as,
At charter?
at charter.
All right, so it's not going to make this one maybe
No.
fall? The DPW, I don't know how the members feel about this, this electric vehicle mandate that these guys are going to have to deal with on some of these larger trucks. But I'm going to call for defiance of whatever the state is basically jamming down our throats when it comes to these vehicles. There's no infrastructure. We don't have the infrastructure for it. There's no cost offset for the cost of replacing gas-powered, diesel-powered vehicles. There's absolutely no way some of the larger trucks will be able to push snow with the power that they have. We're in New England, snow, cold weather, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know what the date is that the DPW board is going to have to deal with this, but I'd like to keep us in tune with it and make sure that they have the support that we need to basically tell Boston that Dartmouth isn't going to replace all their vehicles with electric vehicles that are going to cost us a fortune and don't work. The police station, we all got the letter about the mass development grant opportunity for the police station. I want to get that on the radar. This letter was dated February 13th. We got it last, I think, the last meeting. I don't know what the board's, consensus is on this thing, but for me, it makes a lot of sense to try and take advantage of this. I don't know if Gary has an update on an application for the technical assistance grant through Mass Development. If the chairman agrees that we should probably look at it or not. But I thought I'd bring it up and try and get it on the radar, because I think it's important that we do something with the old police station, and this would be one step toward allowing a grant to come in and give us a feasibility study, basically.
Well, Chris, I have been communicating with Mass Housing Partnership for over a year.
Okay.
And trying to get them to come and look at the police station. And I've now gone with from our local rep to a state person. I can't seem to get anyone in that office to be interested. The only response I had is they could not find an engineer to come and look at the project. Yep. And then a second response that I got is that given the findings, which is just a review of what we had submitted, of the condition assessment of the 2024 appraisal, a conversion of the building to 10 apartments does not seem financially feasible without a large cash contribution. What we were looking for is to find out, can we get 10 apartments? And what would that large cash contribution be?
Yeah.
And that is the information I have as recent as last Thursday.
Last Thursday, okay. All right, so,
Just take the building down.
let's see. Do we want to work on trying to?
Mr. O'Neill, comment? We still don't need to know the status of the DEP use of the land in the back, which I think would have a direct effect on our ability to do anything to that building. Until we get a more short, this could be even longer than we think for them to use that land back there to mitigate Bliss Corner. And I think that's an issue, a major issue. How can we even conceive doing anything when we don't know the use of that land, how long it's going to be?
That doesn't have anything to do with the building.
But what we wanted to know was the building
material.
feasible? And that's why I started talking to, over a year ago, January of 2024, with Mass Housing, because I wanted to know if they could assess it and tell us, because if they looked at it and said we can only get 6 apartments, therefore it's not feasible. What currently sits on the books at a vote of town meeting, now almost 2 years ago, was to demolish the site as a Hail Mary pass. When Historic came to us, I pursued this Mass Housing Partnership to see if they would look at it and see if it was feasible. And I have been unable to get anyone from Mass Housing Partnership to come and look. If Mr. O'Neill feels that we should go for a grant, I don't know if they tell us they're not giving us a grant. I don't know if they will act on coming down to look at this any faster than what I've been asking for.
So I think maybe the problem is that it's under Mass Development, the real estate technical assistance grant. So it's a completely different department.
Right. Mass Development sent us to Mass Housing Partnerships to find out the viability.
Three Stooges.
Yeah. So I don't know. Worth, I'd say, call Mass Development and see if they'd review.
Okay.
What we have, Chris, we have the architectural renderings of the police station, of the potential uses. One of the things I will tell you is they talked about raising the floor, which is in order to have parking underneath. and that structurally is impossible.
Yep.
So that part, we just need to do, on-site parking and convert the entire building.
All right, so
But I
so
can't
my
get any further.
So my only issue then is that the grant applications have to be in and filed by May 5th. So let me do a little bit of work on it and see if we can.
Yeah, and certainly speak to Mr. Vitale, because as part of his position, he secures grants. So if it's something, I really feel this is our last Hail Mary pass,
I think so,
trying to
too.
find something.
All right,
And
let me try
I'd
and-
rather use it than lose it.
Let me try and put something together for the next meeting, then I'll see if I can get
Great.
some more concrete information. Lastly, Sean, a couple of things. Gary, the meeting between the departments, I think, is just, really, really important. There's been a little bit of a leadership vacuum been going on between the departments, and we know what problems we get when that happens. So the fact that you're taking the lead and bringing the departments together is important. If we can get some private input in some of those meetings, that would be terrific. And I'll work with you any way I can to try and make those as effective as possible. More communication between the departments is best. And the only other thing I have is just a comment on the project up on Fonts Corner Road. I kind of felt for the chairman of the planning board, because he did bring up the architectural standards in the town when it came to that building. I think, in my opinion, I don't know for a fact, but in my opinion, I think there's more going on in the background for the project and why it was pulled than just the requirement that the architect look at what the architectural standards are for the town. We do have them in town, and the planning board does try and, at least bring them up. I think one of the issues was when an architect comes into the town to propose a project, they should at least have looked at what the architectural standards are that the town would ultimately like to see. I understand international brands, national brands, but there are nuances to those things and some small changes that can be made to make a project look even better than just even an international brand. And I think we can find companies that will at least, acknowledge the fact that we do have some architectural standards. And that's a call out to the architectural people that bring projects before the town. So that's it for me, Sean. Thanks.
Mr. Tattlebaum, you have anything? Nothing. Mr. Mickelson? Mrs. Brooks?
Saving the best for last, are we? All right, so I have a number of things. One, I'm going to start with the Dartmouth Rotary Club. I want to thank them. They had a candidates night last week, giving us an opportunity to talk about some issues in the town. And the Dartmouth Rotary Club is organizing a community fundraiser. I'll hold that so that Mike can zoom in. And that's going to be next, or 2 Fridays from now, April 4th, at the Allendale Country Club. It's a comedy night to support the Rotary Club, $25 per person. You certainly could buy a table for $200 as well. So come on out and support the Rotary Club. Thank you. Speaking of candidates night, next Tuesday is our town election, and not only will you have a ballot of candidates, there is only one contested race, and that's for the Board of Health. So I encourage everyone to watch the DCTV of the rebroadcasting of Candidates Night, or look for it on YouTube so you can get an idea of who you are going to be voting for. But I also want to remind everyone that all voters received, come on in, Mike, all voters received this brochure sent out from the town hall, and this is regarding the questions that you'll have on the ballot. This brochure, and I have to tell you, it's fairy font, but it's a mass statute that we have to send this out to all households in Dartmouth prior to the election, and it will give you not only the charter amendments and which are for the questions, but also it has the omnibus amendment, which is Schedule B, which shows you all the changes that were made. And these are all from the charter change. And how it got to you is the Charter Review Committee proposed a number of warrant articles. These were the warrant articles that the town meeting approved of and are sending to all voters. None of this happens until the voters approve it. So please make sure you find this somewhere in your paper pile and give it a read before next Tuesday. Those are my 2 plugs. I talked about the interdepartment meeting, which was on my thing. I also wanted to bring up again the budget subcommittee, which I think Gary said in another community it's called BAG, which is the Budget Advisory Group, which would be 2 members of Select Board, 2 members of FinCom, 2 members of School Committee, as well as the Director of Finance, the Town Administrator, and the, I would say, Assistant Superintendent for Budget and Finance, Jim Kiley, would sit down on a bi-weekly basis and go over the entire budget. I'm proposing that we look at to do that because we really need to, when we're hearing that we have a $107 million budget, we really need to remember that we're one town, we're one Dartmouth, and we have one budget for everybody. And I think that hearing the success at the MMA conference of other communities that are using that process, and then those liaisons take back that, important information to their committees, it would really behoove all of us to know some of the details and minutiae about the budget. I'm just throwing that out there. And finally, and I think if I'm the only one receiving phone calls and folks coming up and speaking to me wherever I go on the waterways fees, it's because they know I'm a boater. The waterway fees mailing that went out is not for the current fiscal year, it's for a previous fiscal year. Waterways fees were not sent out that fiscal year. I've heard from a number of people that said, they had paid them. If you paid them, I suggest that you look up for your check or your payment through your credit card so you can show someone in the tax collector's office that you had in fact paid them. If it comes through that it's for a boat you no longer own, a boat you sold, a boat that was given away, trashed, damaged, you don't have this boat and you have a bill, you are going to have to actually speak to someone in the assessors department or the environmental police department to get clarification and certification that you no longer have that boat. The harbor master's office, I will say, I'm hearing from folks that not only are they unresponsive to help in this area, the message when you call says that they're understaffed and you need to email them with your concerns. And that I'm hearing from, first of all, I haven't been made aware of any boater that got a bill that was accurate, because they're not coming to me. Everyone else is coming to me saying, I have inaccurate. I received, I have one boat, I received, bills for 3. I do want to let you know, shout out to the folks in the assessor's office helping people. I've heard really good things about the assessor's office, which is part of our Dartmouth Town Hall, so I'm always happy to hear that. And also shout out to the environmental police, which has absolutely nothing to do with us, but they have been very helpful. But along that line, I do think that we need to have a meeting with the Harbor Master, Waterways, and Harbor Management Plan. We've talked a lot about bringing them together and talking about their mission and their charges, their committee charges, and we have a lot of overlap. But I think we need to, much as I asked for the interdepartment meeting, to talk about their online process, the structure of their fees, their timeline. I'd also like to know what's happening with Rogers Street, given that Mr. Kevin Murphy was before us at our last meeting and was moving money, ARPA money that had been set aside for Rogers Street because it wasn't necessary, and having it moved to the Warren Hathaway dock project in Padenham Harbor. I'd like to know from this group what is going on with Roger Street and an inventory of all of their equipment.
April 2nd at 2 AM, we're meeting with the Harbor Department, so to discuss those items.
At what time?
April 2nd at 10 AM.
10 a.m. Thank you.
Mr.
Chairman?
Yes,
One
Mr.
quick thing,
Teflon.
Leslie. In the interest of trying to help, I mentioned this last week, the Dartmouth Cultural Center. I am giving a Abraham Lincoln 16th President presentation on April 1st. No comments on the fulls, please. 6 o'clock at the Dartmouth Cultural Center, April 1st, the 8th, and the 15th. I'm doing it, they're trying to raise some consciousness for new members and to raise some money to pay for the course. And we're getting some good response, but I wanted to mention it one more time, starting next on the 1st of April. Thank you.
All right, the only thing I have is, last week, coming home, from my home to work, I noticed that several telephone poles along Route 6 and Fons Corner Road have been carpet bombed by advertisement. I know this is something that Mr. Mickelson has, in the past, has always been roping against, and it just seemed like this was done by the same company, 2 signs per pole, and there must be at least 20 to 30 signs in this immediate area. But the thing is that they're not done by somebody just walking up to the pole and putting it up. Somebody had to have either a ladder or a bucket truck and did it because it's up high enough where you needed a ladder or a bucket truck to put it up.
Send him a bill.
And I have the picture. I'll send it to the building commissioner, and I'll have the building commissioner, or I'll give it to our office, to call this company and tell them to remove the signs because it is in violation of that. And I think we need to, actually, to be honest with you, I think we also need to just maybe implement the DPW, give them a crew to go around,
Take it down.
take them all down, everything.
Forget about calling these people, they won't do it anymore.
Yeah, I know. Well,
Just take it down and then send them a bill.
Yep, so I think that's something that we should do. So other than that, anybody have anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Mr. Mickelson, seconded by
Mrs.
Brooks. On the motion, any questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, none unanimous. Good night, everybody.